Okay, question number 4 is a tough question, and really mapping it out clearly with your draw part of your strategy is important. So again, my read, draw, write strategy, if I can follow those steps and do them well, I have a better chance at getting the question answered well and completely. So we'll start off by reading. Matt wants to save 2.5 minutes on his 5K race time. After a month of hard training, he managed to lower his overall time from 21 and 1/5 minutes to 19 and 1/4 minutes. By how many more minutes does Matt need to lower his race time? Alright, so I'm going to set up a horizontal tape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see that the total amount of his time originally, okay, remember that tape usually means the total of something. Then I'm going to decide what to do with my operations, add, subtract, multiply, or divide, based on where my information fits in. So the total of 21 minutes and 1/5 is what he used to run. But now he's lowered, so it's come down somewhere, let's say in this range. He's now at 19 and 1/4. This here represents 19 and 1/4. So I have this up to here. That's where he is now. This is where he was. My next step would be to say to myself, okay, well, the distance between the two is what he saved. How do I find that? Well, it's difference. It's difference between the 21 and 1/5 and the 19 and 1/4. Okay, so my first step will be to subtract those two numbers. I'm going to take 21 and 1/5 minus 19 and then minus 1/4. Let me separate that. Even though some of you can do it without separation, I want to separate it so I can understand it clearly. 21 and 1/5 minus 19 is 2 and 1/5. Minus 1/4. I now need a common denominator. If you can see that it's 20 right away, fantastic. If you can't, go to your side and list your multiples of 4 and 5 until you find a common denominator, which will eventually be 20. I'm just going to fill in a couple of those, but hopefully by now you're seeing the common denominator 4 and 5 is going to be 20. Okay, now I'm going to go from a denominator of 5 to a denominator of 20 by multiplying by 4. So I'm going to multiply by my 1 by 4 to get the 4/20ths. And multiplied my 4 denominator here by 5 to get 20. So I'm going to multiply my numerator of 1 by 5 to get 5. Now I can clearly see that I cannot take 5 from 4/20ths. So this is where I need to borrow. I borrow a whole, turn it into the fraction form, which would be 20/20ths. 20/20ths would be 1 whole, but I already have 4. So 20/20ths plus 4/20ths is 24/20ths. These are basically the same thing, same number, but it's going to be done in a way that will allow me to subtract. It's just like borrowing with whole numbers, except we're putting it in fraction form. Okay, now I have 24/20ths minus 5/20ths, which is 19/20ths. 1 and 19/20ths. Now that's not my answer. I have to look and see where that plugs in on my tape. And that's 1 in 19/20 is the amount of time that's not done very clearly. Let me redo that. This here is 1 and 19/20. That's the amount of time that Matt cut off his race time. But he wants to cut off more than that. He wanted to cut off 2.5 minutes. I go back into my question and circle when I'm going to use the number there. 2.5. Now, this is what he wants to cut off. Look at it. Go over that line. Think about it. And this is what he has already cut off his time or saved. So this amount here is going to be the amount he still needs to go to lower his race time. That would be the difference of 2.5 minus 1 and 19/20. Okay? You should know that half, the common denominator of 2 and 20 would be 20, and half of 20 is 10. Minus 1 and 19/20. Okay, I'm going to take 20 and 10/20, 2 and 10/20, minus 1 minus 19/20. 2 and 10/20 minus 1 is 1 and 10/20. Minus 19/20. I can't take 19 from 10, so I'm going to borrow from the whole and add 20/20 to the 10/20 that are here. So 20 and 10 is 30/20. Minus 19/20. I have 30/20 minus 19/30 is equal to 11/20 of a minute. Final answer. Bonus, if I wanted to know how much time exactly that was, 11/20 of a minute. I know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Therefore, if I multiplied by a magic number 1, 3/3, I would get my 60 seconds. Multiply the top by 3, and I get 33 out of 60 seconds. 11/20 of a minute is 33 seconds. Now that, in this case, would be a bonus. It did not ask me for an exact amount of seconds. 11/20 would have been sufficient, but it does convert to 33 seconds.